Hey everybody, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I appreciate y'all watching the channel as always. Today, I don't know what we're going to get ourselves into. Hopefully it's something that's going to be very easy to fix, but I can see where it could be very hard to fix. We're going to find out. What we've got is, a first for me, is one of these Troy Bilt 30-inch rear engine riders. They sell for, I don't even know what they sell for now. I think they're like $1,800 or something like that at whatever big box store. This one's probably about 8 to 10 years old. Probably got it for about $800 or $900 back in those days. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is we've got an issue. I was told by the owner that it's got an issue with the deck build. I guess she said getting cut, but the only thing I've noticed is that it's slipping off of the tensioner pulley, and it looks like it's missing some things on it. So we're gonna go in there and see what we can do in order to get this to work correctly again. Hopefully it's not going to take too much, and hopefully it's not going to take any parts, and I can get this banged out in an afternoon so I don't have to, you know, fill up my garage with this stuff. Anyways, thank you all again for watching. Again, if you have any questions about this video or any video that you see on the channel, you can feel free to reach out to me. Ellis at ellismowers.com or at ellismowers09 on Instagram and Facebook. Let's go ahead and get into this and see what we've got going on with the Troy Bilt. Also, if you want to support my affiliates, there are some links down below as well in the description. Let's get started. As always, I'll give y'all an overview of this Troy Bilt 30-inch plastic fantastic. That's what a lot of people like to say when they see a bunch of plastic. This is definitely one of them. The whole body plastic. Seat's actually relatively nice. It's one of those that won't rip very easily, unlike those Troy Bilts right there. I mean, it's an MTD product. What do you expect? Especially a cheap MTD product. What this does have, so there's a bunch of mosquitoes here in the garage for some reason. Get some airflow in here in a second. It's got, I don't even know, has it got a 10 horsepower Briggs on it? No, 11 and a half, so 344 cc. This one was built in 2013. So 130114, January 14th of 2013. So we've got a lot of, like, I mean, golly, how did they cheapen out big time on this mess right here. I don't know what they did. I don't know how to put this back on, honestly. But either way, all of this is loose, so like whoever worked on it last didn't even bother to put this back on. That's not even the problem. The problem lies down here on the deck. I've gotten the deck as low as possible so that we can look at it, and it's not that difficult of a design. It looks like it's going to be relatively easy, hopefully, to fix here. What we've got, this is your blade cable, and you actually have a return spring and the tension spring all in one here, so that's kind of interesting. But we have, what do we have here? We've got a jumped belt, first off. Secondly, there's the main pulley in the back. My problem looks like it's going to lie here with the tensioner spring. I don't know how well I'm going to show y'all. Or the tensioner pulley, I apologize. It's almost like it's missing some sort of part here to help keep the belt in check. Like almost like a bolt or something to help keep the belt in check. I don't know what's going on, but I do know that the pulley is loose. It doesn't want to turn very well. It keeps binding up on some metal. So I don't know if like it just needs to be tightened, or it was tightened improperly. She did say that there was a guy that worked on this thing. He said that he hated this design and wanted to see what he could do to make it better. Now, one thing that's missing is it looks like there used to be a guard here on the belt. So, or on the main pulley. A lot of times on MTDs, they also act as belt guides. So that's going to be interesting if that is an issue after we get this tensioner pulley fixed. And looks like we can take it off. Take this deck off in order to see what we've got going on here. Doesn't look like it's going to be terribly difficult to do that. We'll see. Man. Spindle looks okay. I haven't checked the blade. But on this side, it almost looks like there's a safety associated with this as well. And there is. So you have to have this on in order to cut. So I've got to unplug this safety in order to get it off. I've got to unplug. I'm going to go ahead and take these bolts off here, or the wing nuts off for this discharge chute. You know, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that they don't have these on like 42-inch riders and stuff now. But I guess because this is so close to the occupant, somebody could easily step down here and just get railroaded by the blade. The blade is actually in very good shape. A little bit of play in the spindle, nothing crazy. But what we're going to do is unplug the safety switch. It looks like to get the deck off, I've got one R clip right here. I've got a second one on the other side. And I have, it's got to be one in the middle on the front, don't you think? Yeah, that one right there in the middle. I think those three right there is all I need to get it off. There's your deck height adjustment. That's kind of interesting. Right there on the front. And then one more thing I wanted to see about is there's this spring here that's tied to the, brake return spring. Okay. So that's what that is. And it looks like it's tied to this little arm thing right there. So let's take the deck off. Let's see what we've got in terms of pulleys and whatnot, and see what we can essentially work our way to get fixed here while we're here in the garage and not get bitten by the mosquitoes at the same time. Alright guys, here's the deck. Like I mentioned, nothing special after I took it off. It does have to come out of the left side though, because of that arm right there hanging down. But apart from that, if you take it out the left, it slides right out once you get all the deck belt and all that good stuff off. In terms of the deck belt, let's take a look at that, and then we'll get into what I think is going on here. So that's the safety switch. Don't forget to unplug that. In terms of the deck belt, I mean, it's in decent shape, except for it's got like scoring wherever this guy ended up doing some weird stuff to this thing. I might need to bend this bracket down a little bit because he might have bent it. I don't know. But we'll see what's going on with it. Okay. Oh, PCV breather's off. Let's put that back on for her. And obviously I'll check the oil and everything while I'm down here as well, or I'm working on it, but usually when I do these jobs, I just fix what they need, and if they want it serviced, then they can have it serviced. If not, I ain't worried about it. So we've got some sort of, that's the blade safety there with that cable. So okay, this really ain't that bad to me. Somebody who hasn't worked on these things before probably is. The big issue that I'm seeing, I'm about to take this bolt off, is that there's some sort of something that goes here that helps keep this belt, I guess, in check, in line, and it's got to be some sort of, I mean, I don't know. I have to see what type of hardware this requires, and go from there. But this right here definitely would have been the cause of why this was cutting the belt and all that mess. I do need to make sure that it's going to cut correctly at all heights. She did mention that the guy told her that to not cut it lower than 3. Well, but we're gonna make it so that she can cut on all levels if she wanted to. I am gonna go look up a schematic to see what we've got going on here and to see what I need to do in order to make this work. The pulley seems good. It was just rubbing up against something. So I'll be right back. I'll let y'all know what I find. Alright guys, this might be something that gets a little bit interesting here. Looking on the schematics, the manual, whatever you want to call it, it almost looks like a few things are missing here, in all honesty. But I mean, I don't know. One thing I do know that I have to get right is this tensioner and also this loose pulley. So what does it look like? We got half on top, probably half on the bottom. I'm going to get that off. The guy looks like he double nutted it or something on the bottom. So I don't know why he did that, because this mess is definitely loose now, and not sure why it is, but whatever, right? So I'm gonna get that off. We'll go from there. I think what I'm gonna have to do here is, and this is lined up correctly, so all I gotta do is get on the bottom here. I gotta find something that'll space this out enough to where I can slide a bolt through it, tighten it down, and the space allows the belt to go through but not come off and not rub. So let's see what I can do to find something that will work when it comes to that. Alright y'all, I've got a plan of attack and I hope it works okay. First off, somebody decided they wanted to, I guess, change the bolt out. I would think that this would not be a regular bolt here, that it would be one that has a sleeve on it right here. I know I don't have one that would fit this. So what I did in lieu of it is, since we saw all that loosen up, I found a lock washer, and I'm going to put a lock nut, and I'm also going to put a lock washer on the bottom of it to help keep this thing from turning easily, and I think we'll be okay when we do that. In terms of the bottom down here, in terms of the tension pulley guide so the belt doesn't fall off, I'm going to do a similar situation. I've got this little spacer thing that'll go in between this and this, and we'll put a lock nut and a lock washer on it, and hopefully it don't go nowhere. We're going to test it out. I'll probably cut the whole front yard with it, or whatever there is out here, since it's dry right now, and we'll see what ends up happening. I think we might be okay. I'll show you the assembly process, but literally it's just putting 2 nuts and 2 washers in, and I'll show you the end result. We'll mock it up, and then I'll have to take the little one for the guide off so that I can slide the belt back on. When I slide the belt back on, we can put that guide back on and be done, hopefully. We'll put it all back together. Alright guys, I've mocked this up. What I have done is I've gone ahead and tightened this main pulley bolt and nut, and look at that. We've got good movement there. No back and forth to where it's rubbing anything. And then I found a spacer that's going to work perfectly, just like that, So now I'll go ahead and get the deck back on and put this back together, and I guess all that's left to do is see what we've got going on. Height wise, let's take a look. Height wise, do we look okay? Are we a little on the low side? Well, we won't be after it picks up and engages, I suppose. We're right on the money when it comes to that, so that's good. I guess what happens is this engages and it literally just feeds right around the back of this pulley over this and out through the because that's not really providing a lot of leverage right there, is it, for the blade brake? We'll see how that works, if it's going to act up on us, and we will adjust accordingly if we need to when it comes to that. Makes you wonder if the blade brake goes over there instead of right here. I'll go check the schematics or the diagram real quick, and if so, I'll move that over here with the spring tensioner, because that's a long ways for that belt to travel, but it might travel that far, I'm not sure, because it looks like it does have to come that far in order to, and that spring does work. So I'll go check to make sure that's correct as well, and then I'll go ahead and put the deck back on. Again, it's just these 3 points right here, and then we'll put the belt on. I'll take this off. We'll make sure everything lines up. I'll put that guide back on, and we'll test this. We'll put this back on, plug the safety in, and check everything back out. I'll show you how I did it once I did it, though, instead of just explaining it to y'all. Alright guys, this really has not been bad. Let me show you what I've done. I don't know how well I can show you with the tension pulley, but the tension pulley is good. I don't see it rubbing against anything, which is a good thing. We've got the nut and the bolt with the little spacer in there, and between those two lips, or between as the guide, which I put the belt in between. Belt's on the spindle. I bent down this bracket in the back so that it doesn't rub on all heights now. It's actually at the lowest setting. It was rubbing and now it's not. It's including on the right side, it's good. It's a little bit of a stretch for this mower, but it does have too much of a slope like this, so we are going to have to adjust it a little bit in the front here in order for it to get to be where it is supposed to be and not dragging the ground. But for the purpose of trying to test this, I think we're going to be okay. Might go ahead and level the front part of the deck as well while I'm here. But in terms of it not rubbing anything, it doesn't look like it's rubbing anything, and the engagement and disengagement looks good, so I think we're okay. Let me all you gotta do, it looks like all I gotta do is loosen this nut up, or this bolt up here, and this nut up on this side, and then just put like some sort of, I don't know, I might put this little 1/2 inch extension down here below it. That way I get it at high enough up off the ground so that it doesn't drag like it is now, as you can see. And then we'll go out and test it. I think we'll be done after that, and also figure out what I can do with this right here, because that's kind of inexcusable. That, like, why did you take these off? That's what I'm wondering. But I might just have to put some bolts through there or something along those lines just to get it to where it'll stay, at least in this one. Let's see, in those 3 areas, and especially in that 4th area right there, because I mean, that's just ridiculous the way that it is right now. So, and this thing right here don't want to fit like it's supposed to, so that's kind of crazy too. Maybe it's supposed to fit like that, I don't know. It's a bunch of plastic though. Either way, let me get the chute back on, level that deck, and we'll go out for a little spin. Alright guys, it's about time to give it a test run here. What I need to do is, well, I've checked everything. Everything checks out underneath. I I put the safety, I plugged it back in. Again, your 3 points. And I was mistaken. That is not the adjustment. This is the adjustment for the front of the deck. You just need a 3/4 inch socket, deep well, and a 3/8 inch drive was fine. I did it with the hand ratchet. We just got to figure out if this thing's gonna work like it's supposed to. That just involves cutting some grass. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work now. Let me crank it up. I'll put it up to like height number 4 or something, and we'll try it out. We might go for a ride if I can get y'all situated and out of the sun here. Let's see what happens. Interesting. So I think what the problem is actually the blade brake. I think it's trying to smoke the belt on the bottom of the blade brake here, and causing some issues. That's the only thing I can think of, because if you look, it's just not pulling it. Pulling it back far enough, I don't think. I don't know if that's a problem too. Huh. One thing I think I might do, I don't know if it's the blade, like I said, I don't know if it's the blade brake that's causing issues, or I think that middle pulley's trying to seize up on me, and I think it's because there's not enough clearance on the top of that bolt down there. I don't want to have to get this deck off completely again, but I think what I want to do, because I have room, man, I hate to get this thing off completely again, but if I do, so be it. What I think I need to do is get that middle, get a washer or something in between that top bolt and the pulley, and I think that might be something that I might be able to situate to where, because it's not turning like I want it to right there. I was trying to burn the belt somewhere and I can't figure out where. I guess it's just trying to, I don't know what it's trying to do, but whatever it's trying to do, it's scorching the outside of it on the bottom, like chewing it up bad. So like I said, I don't know if that's loose and needs to be tightened up some. I think it actually might. And that raises that up a little bit. That might be it. I think it may just be stressing all this mess out too much. Alright. Let me see if I can tighten this bolt up a little bit, because this might be my culprit here actually. Because I think it needs to be up here, and it's not. It's down here, and it's trying to smoke some belts. Very interesting. I've never seen anything like really kind of like this before, because this seems to be turning okay, and it's smoking it right there. So let me see what I can do with this bolt here, if I can get that a little bit tighter to where it'll actually still pivot and not have all of this play here. So let me see what I can do. Alright guys, so we're gonna wrap this video. I wanted to show you, I don't know exactly where I left off, but I do know that I can show you what I ended up deciding to do as the finished product here. It works probably about the best I'm going to be able to get it, given the fact that I believe, number one, this is missing some parts and was poorly rigged, for what I can tell, by whoever worked on it before me. Given that, let's go under here. Let me show you what I believe, according looking to the diagrams, what I have had to do. So this spring that you see on the right side here is acting as a return spring for the spindle, and I don't think that's supposed to actually be here. I think somebody screwed a little loop on here and ended up creating a tension spring. What was happening was it was allowing the spring to be, the spring was too tight, and the tension spring here for the blading gauge cable was not able to overcome the blade break, and so I think that's where part of it was causing it to mess up and do things like smoke the belt, throw the belt. Obviously the big culprit was that the idler pulley for the tensioner was bad. So what I ended up doing there is I angled, it's hard to show, but I used this nut here because that's the only anchor point that I can find on this thing, which is weird. But I anchored the tensioner pulley and angled it so that it kind of is angled a little bit like that to bridge the gap between what is higher, which is the crank pulley was higher, and then versus what is lower, and what's lower is this main pulley here for the blade, especially when you lower the deck. So that seems to be helping the fact that it seems to be helping. I put a spacer to gap, man that's dark, but I put a spacer to gap where the guide used to be, and a bolt and a nut and a lock washer. And then whoever put this bolt in didn't have the proper bolt with the right collar. I put a lock washer on it so that it doesn't wobble itself off again. After all of that, it was still, whenever you engage the blades, it would not pull the brake back far enough. So what I did is I drilled a hole in the blade brake arm. That this is what engages the brake arm whenever you pull back on the blade engage there, and put a nut and a bolt in so that the brake actually stays off whenever you have the blades engaged. And whenever I turn the blades off, or whenever I turn the blades off, it still engages the spindle enough here to where the spindle pulley enough to where it will stop the deck. Even though it does stop it a little bit slower than I would like, I would rather it do that than be trying to overcome the blade brake when the blades are engaged and burn up another belt. You can kind of see, I don't know how dark it is. I'll get you in here. You can kind of see that it has tried to wear off a little bit of the labeling on the bottom. I have run this belt for a good, I don't know, probably 20 to 30 minutes now. And in all honesty, I don't know if I can get it better than it is. Given all the parts and stuff that I believe are missing, I think there's supposed to be some sort of springs or something along these lines here. I don't know how these are set up because I've never seen one before, or never been here to see one, or worked on one for that matter. So that's what I ended up doing. Long story short, angled the pulley a little bit, fixed the guide so it doesn't fly off whenever you disengage the blades. This pulley for the blade is, or for the spindle, is a little wobbly too, so that doesn't help matters. And on the back side, I had to adjust the little bracket that helps keep the belt on a little bit lower, just to see, because it was trying to throw the belt. It was throwing the old belt, but I think it's because I'm going to show it to the person when I take it back, but you can see it was trying to burn the bottom of the belt off, and that was mostly because the pulley for the tensioner had too much of a gap underneath it, and it was throwing it off of the tensioner and trying to burn the belt up. And I think what we did is I rounded it off too much on the bottom, and when I disengaged the blades, it rounded inside the tensioner pulley and ended up throwing the belt. Ever since I put this belt on, it has not done that. However, it's missing the guard here for this pulley, so it's like, I don't know. So undoing someone's wrongdoings, but still I had to do a little bit of rigging. All that being said, let me grab the tripod. I'll show you that it mows at whatever level you want to mow at. I asked her, I said, you know, what level do you usually mow at? I want to make sure that it is optimal for what you're going to use it for. And she said either 2 or 3. So I used it and just let it run on 2 here for a little while. Cut my front yard with it on number 3. Belt was fine. Hopefully, because I don't know what to do apart from everything that I've done. If y'all have any ideas of what I did that I could have done differently, aside from ordering all the OEM parts, which probably would have been north of $100, and she's not really going to be in it much more than that from my repair, because I had everything here that I could repair it with. Didn't have to order any parts aside from the belt. Let me know. I'm always open for suggestions. Or if you know how this is supposed to be hooked up, let me know as well, because I don't. Anyways, I'll give you all a test run. We'll wrap this video up. Alright guys, I'll show you that everything's working like it should. Runs good. It runs really good actually. So at least I didn't have to worry about that. One thing I'm gonna suggest to her, because it is missing a little bit of guides, is to, whenever she disengages the blades, to throttle it down some, so that way it's not taking all the force and then just taking it all off at the same time. But I don't know what the deal with the transmission was. It didn't want to engage there at first, but MTD Veridrives, right? Anyways, so obviously we're having issues with that. It's not eating belt anymore. I wanted to make sure that before I put it onto the mower. I actually mowed most of my front yard with this belt just to see if it would do it, and it did, but it threw it off whenever I disengaged it because of it had rounded itself a little bit. So I think we got it, guys. I'm actually about to load it on the trailer and take it back to her. A lot cheaper than her alternatives, which were buying a new mower basically, or taking it to a shop where they're basically going to charge you $100 just to look at it. And like I said, I've basically done it for not too much more than that. So, and luckily I gotta make a lot of deliveries and stuff, so her delivery charge is going to be pretty low since I can combine it with a bunch of other deliveries. Anyways, what do y'all think about these things? They're a bunch of plastic. They don't seem like they're terribly difficult to work on as long as they're not rigged like this one. First one I've had. So like I said, a bunch of plastic, but everything else seems like it's okay. First impressions are that it's a lot easier to work on than those old Murrays and Craftsmans that y'all have seen me work on, which I despise them things. But this one, we got it back cutting again. It's not eating up belts, so that's good. And hopefully what I have done to it will help her and will serve her needs. So thank you all again for watching. And again, if you have any questions about this video, feel free to reach out to me, Ellis at ellismowers.com, or at ellismowers09 on Instagram and Facebook. I'll catch you on the next video. See you then.